Hello and welcome back to my channel, Meandrous Plays. I'm Meandrous, and we are going to continue with our Timberborn Folktail Cliffside playthrough. Last time we got our bad water diversion set up, which was excellent, just barely in time for the start of this bad tide. We paused. We ended the video right at the start of a bad tide last time. It's going to be 6 days, and let's just unpause it and get this going a little bit. Some general goals for today. I do want to try to stockpile more water, and I also want to get the well-being of our beavers up. Currently, we're at an average of 6, sometimes getting to 7. We're going to try to get that up some more to get some of those well-being bonuses. And a easy way to do that is to, if we look at the well-being here, just for aesthetics, they get some bonuses just for being around shrubs, lanterns, roofs, scarecrows, and such. So it's real easy to plant some shrubs around, and they're we look at an individual beaver. They have a bar for their needs, and their aesthetic needs just goes up when they're within range of that aesthetic, even when they're sleeping. So a fairly good way to get that up is to just plant some shrubs and such on their housing. So we're going to plant shrubs here so that they can reach it from above. And we're also going to do, they like roofs. If you want it to look fancy, you can have these nice roofs. We will be stacking on top of these other buildings, so I don't want to do the big roofs, but they get the same bonus for just a little roof. So it looks, honestly, it looks kind of dumb. But if you just put a 1x1 roof over their houses, they will get the bonus for that. Lanterns require planks. You know, I think we have the planks to spare for that to get another well-being bonus. It won't be able to reach this one from up top, so I'm thinking we put it right there, and maybe we put another one here to get the beavers that are stayed in this house. Oh, they can't even reach that roof from there. Well, they could build it up from here. They could. I explained last time they can build infinitely down. They can reach one tile above them, building up. So just these little three decoration types that we put in, it's going to increase our well-being by 3, which is going to be very helpful. Because at well-being of 10, we get another 20% working speed, up from the 20% to 40. Other well-being buildings we can make. A campfire over here will be great for them as well. We could still build a road below this ladder if we want to build more stuff over here. All right. So those building projects, quick and easy, are going to increase our well-being decently. Let's get because we can, let's also get a shower going. Not a great spot for a shower. Our plank storage is here. I'm going to move that over. That was left from when our industrial sector was over here. So I'm going to build a new one, and then we could place the shower right over here, and that would be great. Actually, we can save that 4x4 spot for a pump. Well, how could we do that? So if we go something like that, we can have a pump there. So let's put our shower right like that, and we can fit both of those buildings in that section connecting to the water. The shower just increases they can visit it to increase their wet fur need. The other option is to have them just walk through the water periodically. Like later, we'll probably have our entrances to our houses force them to walk through water. So they'll get a quick dip, be happy about having wet fur, and that's how they'll start and end each day. Billy doesn't have power. So we can see that our windmill is not producing anything right now. And we don't have anybody in the wheel of shame. Let's fix that. We have it looks like we have a lot of vacancies, but we got to remember 9 of them are all from this one hauling post. So we probably will try to increase our population some today as well. So I wanted to move these planks. So I'm going to set this to empty. We do have 4 free beds, so we don't need to build more housing right now to increase our population. We just got to let the beavers produce more kits, and then that should be good. I am going to unplant a section of carrots here so that I can replace it with potatoes. We keep maxing out on our carrots, and we keep running out of potatoes. So I want to address that so that the next time these are harvested, with the carrots are harvested, they won't be replanted, and then we can plant potatoes there. If I had food, just like more food than I could ever need, and I wanted to just quickly get this done, you can mark resources for demolition. That will destroy it. I'm not quite in that much of a rush to get potatoes there, so I'll just let the carrots be how they are. And we'll go from there. So, already, one of the goals we had set was to increase our well-being, and we are well on our way to doing that with these aesthetics that we put in. We just needed a road here to be able to build that last shrub. Campfires built, shrubs, roofs, lanterns, all of that has been built. We are going to be looking good on the well-being before too long. Let's see, other things we can do. Well, let's just show the bad water diversion too. It's working perfectly fine. None of the bad water is coming down to contaminate our river, and it's all flowing right off the map. No problems whatsoever. So when the bad tide ends, we'll keep this open for a little bit to flush out all of the bad water, and then we'll close it and lower these, and that will allow river water to flow back into our river and fill up our reservoir we had here. One thing we could do is replace these dams with the floodgates that we now have unlocked. And what that will allow us to do is, the water flows over the dams at about 65% full. Well, we could set the floodgates to say 85%, 90%, and have a higher reservoir here back behind it. The only downside is they are more resource intensive, and you cannot walk on them like you can on dams. Like the beavers can walk on these no problem. You can build other things on top of it. You can't do that for floodgates. The small pile is empty, and we don't need it there anymore, so we're going to delete it. I honestly would like to get another medium tank going before too long. We filled up that other one very quickly, and that was awesome. So I will unpause gear production because I do want even more water storage. As we progress, the droughts can get longer and longer, all the way up to a 30-day drought. And with that, you're going to need a lot of water stored up. As far as food, we're going to need, eventually for that long drought, we're going to want to build a deeper wet reservoir over here in this area. And the reason you want to go deeper instead of just longer is evaporation is based on the surface area of the water. So if we can dam this up with levees and make it higher, that will allow us to store more water there and periodically release it to keep our crops irrigated, and at the same time minimize losses to evaporation. So that's going to be one of our goals there. We had an issue where we didn't have enough lumberjack flags last time to keep up with these oaks coming in. That has since been remedied. There are currently no trees even to harvest over there. So we can even pause these lumberjack flags. Maybe once we plant more trees in this area, we'll need more to turn those back on. But for now, we can free that labor up to send, say, in the hauling post, or even those inventor huts. All very good uses for that. We still have no power coming from our windmill, which is unfortunate, but it happens. And our beaver here is pumping out some power by running on the wheel of shame. The wheel of shame, the power that they... Whoa. Okay. So, the power they produce on the wheel of shame is based on their move speed. So I noticed that the power on here was less than 50. That means his move speed is slower than normal. I clicked on him to see what was up. He needs sleep. Well, the only reason he needs sleep is I told him to work 24 hours a day to finish up that bad water diversion. So for the last 3 days, these beavers have been working 24-hour work days. Not ideal, and I don't want to be a slave driver, so we're going to let them rest again. So that was a mistake on my part. I missed that, but we got them back to appropriate working hours. Later on, I do lessen their working hours some because they have more and more well-being buildings they want to visit. So when they're not working, they're going to be visiting like this campfire. But once you have campfires, agoras, lidos, dance halls, all of these buildings set up that they all want to visit, they need more time to do that. So you lessen their working hours so they have more time to get all of those bonuses. I'm going to keep it at 18 right now. I think they all have plenty of time to reach the campfire. Well, the campfire can only hold 5 of them. So really that campfire might need, and I might need 2 of them with this amount of beavers. We'll just see how that goes. Give it a couple days to see how many can get the buff. Some of these carrots have been harvested, and we're going to plant those with potatoes, like I said. They're happier than ever. We reached a new well-being high score for this playthrough, 10. And that's actually important. That was one of the breakpoints we were going for to improve their working speed. That working speed bonus will help with everything. How fast they chop down trees, how fast they turn planks and logs into planks into gears. So all of that will add up, and it'll be very helpful for us in the long run. Let's replant that potato there, or plant it now. And it kind of looks like these guys aren't harvesting the potatoes quite yet. They're falling behind. Let's put a third one in here right now just to catch up a little bit. One of the reasons the gear production is going so slowly right now is this one wheel of shame is not producing near enough power for these 2 buildings. This one itself requires 50 horsepower, hamster power, HP, whatever animal beavers register their whatever unit they decide to calculate their power with. But the gear workshop requires 120. So it's only getting 37 out of the 120 watts. So it's going slow. Once we have water flowing again, this water wheel will help out with that tremendously. And then we can take the beaver out of the wheel of shame. I can put down the medium tank that we are planning to build with that. And they can start bringing some stuff over. We don't have the gears for it now, but if we can even get the planks going, that will be very helpful in and of itself. Luckily, our planks produce much faster than our gears, about twice as fast. So we are still producing planks faster than the gear workshop will be able to use them up. I don't think we're going to get to it this episode, but in the near future, we're going to want to start collecting scrap metal. And we use that with these scavenger flags. They work exactly like the gatherer flags and the lumberjack flags, but they harvest scrap. And then we can turn that scrap metal at the smelter into metal blocks. Those metal blocks are going to be useful to keep upgrading new and better buildings. But the one in particular that I am looking forward to the most is the sluice gate. Sluice gates are automatic water discharge that we can replace our floodgates with for our bad water diversion. They'll be much better at that, and we can put them at the bottom and build on top of them. And they allow for some continuous water flow, or not continuous water flow, but continuous water to come out of our reservoir to irrigate land. Like you can set it to, if this reservoir here drops below a certain level, it will let water out of theoretically deeper reservoir that we have over here. So it would keep our crops irrigated after we build that deeper reservoir. So that is one I definitely want. Each sluice does require 5 metal blocks. So before we can get that, we need the scavenger flag, the smelter, and then finally to unlock that, sluice gate. So 400 science, 700, 950 science we need to get sluice gates going, plus the time to harvest the scrap metal and process it into metal blocks. Okay, this has been going for a little bit. I think that's probably long enough to let it clean out the bad water. So we're going to go ahead and open this one. And, oh, wrong way. Close that one. And now we have water coming back in. We had enough water in our reservoir. We didn't even pause our pumping. So we did just fine there. That was a short bad tide compared to even the drought we had before it. So it's kind of to be expected that we were doing okay. But it was good to see that that was in fact the case. So this water wheel is producing tons of power. We can definitely pause that wheel of shame. And we could start working towards other things. An option to greatly increase our science production is to have an observatory going. It requires power. And it requires, next to that gear symbol, you got that pine tree with a drop of liquid symbol by it. That is pine resin. So we aren't there yet. But eventually we will run an observatory to increase our science production instead of these scientists, these inventor huts. We only have one empty bed right now. We have 2 kits that have yet to grow up. I'm trying to decide if we should increase our population or not. It can be risky because you increase your water consumption needs. But I really would like more workforce. I think right now I want more of these inventor huts going. Just because we need science for those scavenger flags and all the things we just described to get sluice gates. Sluice gates is kind of our more immediate goal that would enable us to make this deeper reservoir and make it efficient. Where am I looking for? I'm looking for ladders. We'll build that there. We do have 250 science right now. Well, more than that, but we can unlock our scavenger flags and start collecting some of that scrap metal. I'm going to move this slightly. I'm going to put it up here. And the whole reason I decided to move that again is this is a good spot to build a storage for that scrap metal. If I left that scavenger flag here, I wouldn't have had room for that. We're going to set that to scrap. Unfortunately, this is another job that needs to be done, so it took the inventor right out of the hut that I had just put him in. I think we have caught up enough on harvesting. I think the main limiting factor is storage space for carrots. That's why they're behind on the carrots. So I'm going to take one back out of the efficient farmhouse for now. We completed our second medium tank. That is excellent. I'm going to set that to obtain. I would like to... I'm actually going to empty these two small tanks and delete them. They're just unnecessary at this point compared to the amount of space that they're using compared to the space efficiency of the medium tanks. So we emptied those, so we can delete that. And I'm going to use that area to plant more potatoes. There. And it looks like we can even plant potatoes there. Just wrap up our potato production some. Make sure every beaver's getting their share of potatoes to other grilled potatoes for that +2 bonus. And it looks like all of them do right now, but we actually don't have any potatoes currently, so having that's going to be good. Okay, a beaver got injured. Various industry buildings have a chance of injuring beavers. There's a small chance with the lumber mill and gear workshop, and a greater chance with some of the higher ones like a dirt extractor, a explosive factory. Those all have a higher chance of injuring beavers, but there is a low chance with what we have here now. And when beavers are injured, they refuse to work. So we need to get them healed up. They will heal on their own over time, but we can speed that up with medical beds. It costs us another 80 science. Medical beds take up one build. Sorry, they take up a 1x1 area. We're just going to put 2 of them in there. One of them's probably all that's necessary, but we want to keep ahead of the injuries to keep them, to keep our workforce healthy as much as possible. Once we start expanding our industrial area, we'll have more injuries and we'll need additional medical beds. And we want them, we always want to have enough medical beds for all the injured beavers, or else it's kind of starts to snowball with more injured beavers. Then you just get more and more injured beavers because you're not healing them fast enough. They did plant those other carrots. We're going to replant them with potatoes, and that whole area that I cleared the planting is now going to be potatoes. So we can stop watching that as closely. Let's see. Drought's approaching. Drought is, well, it's better than a bad tide. It might be long. I hope not, but it could be. We didn't really make any progress with our reservoir, but it will be an less than ideal reservoir until we have sluice gates. So we did kind of work towards that. We could, without causing any issues really, build some levees and get some of this going. You know what we can do? We don't need this other dam here. We can recover these logs. I'm guessing somebody noticed that 2 episodes ago and has been yelling at their monitor of why those dams are still there. But I apologize for not noticing it sooner. I feel like a broken record here, but it is what it is. It happened. I didn't notice it. It's fixed now. If I hadn't planted these 2 oak trees, we could make a path over here to help them build this. But as is, I am just going to build a staircase down here from this side. And then they can build these levees. So that shouldn't be an issue. They'll go swimming. They'll have fun in the water. They'll get their wet fur bonus. And we can start making us a bigger reservoir back here behind our current irrigation canal. I've been calling this a reservoir, but really in the future, it's just going to be our irrigation. So river, canal, something like that. But we are using it as a reservoir at the moment. Eventually, we're going to build this up and then explode a lot of this area. And this whole area is going to be a deep reservoir for us to trap water for our beavers. And we're going to need more and more water, not just because the droughts are getting longer, but also because we're going to grow our population. We want to have a larger workforce, so we're going to need more water to support that. Let's see. We have no empty beds at the moment. I want to see how long this drought is going to be, and then I'll decide if we can spare the water and food to grow our population even more. If that's the case, I'm going to build the housing for it, and you can actually pause the housing and make some beavers homeless in order to keep them from reproducing more beavers. So I will actually just build another house, another lodge. That way we have it ready for if we decide to increase our population. I just built this platform. I'm going to undo it though. I want that to be a staircase actually. A ladder, not a staircase. And we can we'll delete this shrub and we will rebuild that after we build a new lodge right on top here. So we'll pause that after it's built. We could also pause it before it's built, but I would like it built so we can put the shrub back on top. Similar to how beavers can build infinitely down, the bonuses from the aesthetics and the range can go infinitely down. So as long as we have, I think they can actually go infinitely up too. But as long as we have the decorations on the roof, all the buildings below it will get it, and they spend a lot of time sleeping in their lodges, which is why we have the decorations focused around their housing. I am going to pause this building now that it's complete, because I don't want... I'm not sure if I want to increase our population at this moment. Curious why we went suddenly homeless if they produced more baby beavers in that short amount of time. And yeah, we have 2 homeless. So in that short amount of time we had the free housing, we got 2 kids. So at this point, we already have 2 homeless beavers. Unpausing this would mean that we have only 1 free bed. And so that's not much of a difference. It's only a 9-day drought. I think we can support the additional beavers. It's going to be up to 25 now. No, my math is wrong. It's going to be up to 27. That'll be our new top population level. So we have so much more water stored than we did the other times. I'm going to actually pause one of these water pumps so that we can not drain this irrigation canal so fast to make sure we don't lose our crops. With that, because we have so much water stored, we don't need to worry about water as much right at this moment. So I slowed down the pumping, and that actually gave us more workforce. We actually have enough to get some haulers again. Maybe for now, instead of trying to micromanage this, I just set all of these inventor huts and let it decide whether to fill the hauling post or the inventor huts first. It chose the inventor huts, and that's just fine. We still have 3 haulers. That's no problem. It's kind of a pain. It's most efficient, but it's kind of a pain to keep watching this windmill to see how much it's producing and if we can turn off the power wheel. So it would be really nice if we could have gravity batteries somewhat soon, but they actually require the metal blocks to build as well. So right now, we're just making do with what we have. We don't have metal blocks. We wish we had metal blocks, but we don't. It will be just fine in the long run, but it just means we need to kind of micromanage and turn on this wheel of shame when we need it. So we have collected quite a bit of scrap. This guy's been busy. We do have the research. We have the research for the smelter. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on, build that. This wheel of shame takes up less space than like the smelter would. So I'm actually going to rearrange some of this. Come on. And we'll delete that. And we'll put a wheel of shame. The emergency wheel of shame for power will be over in this spot. That way, I have room to build a smelter over here. I don't want to delete this until I have the power wheel replaced. So we're just going to wait for that. The smelter does take a 2x4 area, but it will fit right here just fine. And we will have to delete these power shafts. But remember, power consuming buildings also act as power shafts. You can just imagine that there's a little power shaft right in between them transferring the power. So as long as we have this power shaft is going to be connected to the future smelter, and then the smelter will bring the power through there. We have that other wheel of shame going. We can delete this one. And we can delete these. That makes room for our smelter. It does need some scrap metal and some gears, but we have all of that. So it's a-okay. What we will want to do, though, it's quite a distance for our smelter to use the scrap from way over there. So we will set a small warehouse. Sorry, a small pile in this case. And we'll set it to scrap and obtain. And that will mean that and we'll set this one to supply. The haulers will bring the scrap from here and put it in this warehouse and directly into the smelter so that our beaver that is running the smelter doesn't have to go near as far. Because he can just stay in there working and the haulers can do the hauling for him. So even that would be a benefit, but it's even more of a benefit because the haulers can carry twice as much as other beavers. One thing we talked about that we didn't do is we were possibly going to replace these dams with floodgates. And I do think that will be a worthwhile endeavor here in just a moment. I'm actually going to have this reservoir right away be a little bit wider. So we're going to start building some levees here too. We really don't need these berries anymore. Our food is a-okay. I don't want to delete all the berries, of course. But I do want to clear a path for our beavers to build over here. So I'm a little impatient. I am going to delete a few of these resources and get our beavers a path to get over to build this this dam to fill up a reservoir. So these berries are basically going to die once we build this. So we're just going to delete those ones as well. Now allow us to build a path over here. How many builders do we have? We have 4 builders, so that's just fine too. It's too far, it can't be reached. We will fix that problem momentarily. We'll start on this side. There's no urgent projects right now. So we're just getting a head start on a project that we're going to want to do on building this dam up here. Our smelter just needs more planks, so we're just waiting for that. I think I'm going to pause the gear workshop because we have 25 gears. in addition to the 20 we already put into here. So even if we decided we really want another medium water tank, we have the gears for that. So that'll free up some labor and free up some planks that were being produced into gears. Okay, the beavers have cleared that area. And we can go ahead and put down some more levees right here. And that'll do good for us. Bring it back up to 3 times speed just to get things going. And we actually we stored a little water here in this floodgate, so we can let some more of it out. Okay, it wasn't much. We do have water stored up here, but we have no way to let it out unless if it's an emergency, we can delete these levees. But since they're supporting everything else, it will delete everything above it. We really don't want to do that unless we have to. And we will go from there. I think I might end it after this next drought, and might be a shorter video, but I have a few things I have to do, and that should be just fine. We did accomplish some things. We are building our smelter. In the future, we will have replace these bottom levees with sluice gates, and then we can drain this whole small reservoir where we need to by opening those sluice gates. It's not an option for us right now, but it will be handy in the future. Our smelter is up and running, producing our first metal blocks, and we almost even have the science for sluice gates, so that's going to be very helpful as well. I think everything is going quite nicely. We have plenty of water. The water level in our irrigation canal is almost a full tile. So we don't have to worry about these crops dying at all. Overall, we are in great shape, I think. More oaks are coming in. Our logs are staying full. We might even, I think I'm even going to consider building another pile for those logs. So I don't want our log storage to be full, because if it's full, they're not going to harvest these trees. Smelter's up and running. It's almost to the point that we're going to want to build that other pumping station. We don't need it right now, simply for the fact that I just said we had all the water we need. But to remind ourselves that that spot is reserved for another water pump, we're going to go ahead and build it. In fact, we're just going to build the 2 that we kind of reserved those spots for. That way we don't forget. Don't all of a sudden decide, hey, that looks like a great spot for a medium tank. Well, it's not terrible, but we need it for the water pump. Possibly my OCD is telling me that I don't like that these berries are keeping our planted area from being perfectly square. So we're going to delete those and replant them with carrots. No good selected. Okay, we didn't tell this that we wanted it to store logs. We have an injured beaver, but they are in our medical bed. One of the reasons we put the medical beds here is so that it's close to water and food, because the only thing that they will leave their medical beds for is water and food. So we want to minimize that travel time so that they can recover quickly. See, he went and grabbed food just now. That's just fine. He needs to eat still. We got a head start on here. I don't want to go too crazy with building this until we have sluices, because we are very close to having sluices available. Actually, we have the science, and we have the metal blocks, and we're going to have a sluice. We have them unlocked. We aren't utilizing them properly quite yet, but we have the sluice unlocked. So that is great. And we have it built now. So here are the options for the sluices. We're going to want this to turn on if this reservoir, if this irrigation canal ever drops below a certain level. And I'm going to say that level is going to be 0.4 for now. So this will automatically open if this drops below 0.4. And it even gives you like a visual representation with this blue bar when that will open. So now we have sluices on the bottom of there. A sluice. This isn't a waterfall. It's not on an edge. So it can move 6.6 CMS of water. Meaning one single sluice is going to be plenty because we only have 5 CMS coming out of our water sources. We can actually start building up this reservoir now. Because we have a way for the water to come out. And if it overflows, we want a way for it to come out the top. So we're actually going to put dams on the top, so that when this is flowing and this sluice isn't open because this is high enough, the overflow water has a controlled place to go. So now to expand this, it's just going to be a game of putting more layers and then putting dams on the top. And that's going to let us store more and more water. I am going to clear the planting area over here so that we remember we do want to build a path to be able to get to these. They just harvested that oak, and that reminded me. And this one's almost harvested. So we will be able to build a path over here and start building this half of our dam. I did say I would probably end it at the end of that drought. We do have a little bit of flooding going on here. Let's just let that resolve. And the reason we have the flooding is we have all levees up here. Really the ideal time to be building this is during a drought or bad tide when we have the water going in the other direction. And we were just a little late on that. So we don't need the water storage at the moment. And we're just going to delete that so that there's a controlled path for the water to take out of here. This flooding will resolve itself momentarily now that we stopped the issue that was causing the flooding. It just needs a little time. See, there it is. You have a little time once starts flooding before it will kill your trees or crops. So no damage was done there. And next time our goal is going to be to build this up some. If we can build this up, it would be great if we could build it up to the height of this waterfall and have all that water stored. But we'll see how high we can make it next episode. And we'll go from there. Thank you very much. If you watch to the very end, please leave a comment for me. Tell me what you'd like to see next. If there's any obvious things that you think I should be building that I've missed, definitely let me know. My priorities might not be in the exact perfect order, so I will definitely take any advice. And be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Have a good day. Bye.